What is up? What is up? What is up? Welcome to another episode of the Mitch Davis Show. It is, let's see here, Sunday, April 30th, time of recording. Going to be a fun podcast. Going to be talking to the two men who founded the Cotton League baseball here in Mississippi. Probably Cotton State's Baseball League. Probably one of the coolest baseball, collegiate and college baseball summer leagues out there. Mr. Sam Creekmore and Mr. Frank Dodds going to be joining me. Guys, welcome on the Mitch Davis Show. Thank you so much for joining us. How are y'all doing?
Hey, you're doing great. It's a beautiful day, last day of April.
Yeah, it didn't even seem possible.
But I know. It's gone by quick.
It really has. We're wrapping up college baseball season. Want to just jump right into this. What is the Cotton League, the baseball?
Hold on, Mitch. You should know the correct name.
I know.
Cotton State's
Baseball League.
Cotton State's Baseball League has been around since 1903.
I was actually about to bring that up because I have notes in here talking about the Cotton State's Baseball League from 1903, dating back basically to the mid-50s, and then it kind of dropped off.
It's been in and out of existence probably 4 times. And currently, we've sustained, this is our 15th year, and never has it lasted for 15 years.
Wow.
It's been interrupted by pandemics, depressions, wars. So the longest tenure prior to this, I think, was maybe 7 years.
So let me ask you about the start of this, obviously dating back to the early 1900s. What was it back then? Because obviously it's a different breed now. What was the Cotton State's Baseball League back then?
Most of the iterations of the Cotton State's Baseball League was semi-pro, high class D, I think.
Yeah.
We had our good friend Stan Sandroni of Ole Miss tell us that he thought a young Willie Mays may have played in it, and other people like that, just as 16, 17, 8-year-olds. And it was across Arkansas, Mississippi, down the Gulf Coast, and Alabama, and had some fabulous names associated with it. And it was, you think about the iconic movie that talks about all the towns having their own baseball team, and they would kind of adopt the players, and that was kind of the type of league it was, where everybody had their own local baseball team, and they competed in the Cotton State's Baseball League.
But it did start out, the Major League Baseball started the Cotton State's League. It was associated.
Yeah.
That was it in 1903. It was a minor league program. I think it was a Class D program.
Right.
I'm not sure what that meant. It was just the D class of the minor leagues. But that's where it started.
So what made you guys want to pick it up and run with it, all these years later?
Right. Well, let's correct one other thing. Frank and I, we had a third partner, and it was really his idea.
Yeah.
Clark Ritchie from Baldwin, and he had a son that was a fabulous baseball player in Tupelo. Back in 2008, his son was a senior and had signed a scholarship with Samford Division I school, and was looking for a place to play that summer. Clark said, "Why don't we just form a league?" And so he called Frank and me, and so we got together and formed that league. And really, it was selfishly for Clark to have his son play locally where he could come see him. But it was a great idea, though, and there was a need here. And we quickly realized the amount of baseball players that are here that didn't have anything to do in the summer. And when you got Mississippi State an hour away and University of Mississippi 35 minutes away, 2 Division I schools, and then Southern within 4 hours, and then not to mention all the junior college, community college guys that are, hundreds of baseball players within 30 minutes of this New Albany.
And it's not that they didn't have a place to play; it's that you had to commit to a whole summer in another state. Even the iconic Don Kessinger endorsed us and mentioned that he wished his sons had to go to Arizona and places like that for the summer to play. And not only do we have very talented Division I baseball schools close to us, but you have an iconic team down in Delta State that wins national championships. And as Sam mentioned, the junior college programs are so big. And so the idea was that these college kids, no longer associated with Major League Baseball or Class D or semi-pro or that, but these college players wanted to get repetitions during the summer, wanted to get better at their craft, see some of the competition that they were going to be facing off against next spring. And so it's been a fabulous mix. We've had players from Montana and North Dakota, from the Bahamas, from Puerto Rico. A young man right there at the that ended up at the University of Memphis, Ian Biplioni, played 4 years here. So it's been a fabulous mix, and we're just proud to be a part of their baseball journey, however that may or may not take them. We want to have a quality product, a fun time, and relaxing opportunity for them to hone their craft.
I want to ask you about baseball and the SIP. Everybody talks about the SIP now. That's kind of the clever terminology now. What does baseball in particular mean to this state, and how do y'all kind of dip into that a little bit?
Well, yeah, I heard Ron Polk speaking recently, and he came here from a really good program where he was head coach at Georgia Southern, I think, and took over at Mississippi State. And he's like, back in the 70s, baseball in Mississippi was not good, and he recruited from all over the country and even out of the country. And I think, and Boo Ferris at Delta State, as Frank mentioned earlier, he had a strong program, and I think between he and Ron Polk, it really started to grow in Mississippi. And then, of course, the 80s came, and Clark and Palmero, and those two programs had established something. And Frank mentioned Donnie Kester. People don't realize he was a All-American in 2 sports.
Yeah, that's what's wild.
That
doesn't happen.
So there was the seeds right there for baseball in Mississippi, and then just it went on from there, and everybody, they started winning. And so when Cotton States came along, I said, the seeds and it was fertile ground of baseball players. And it's from the last two, actually, Frank and I have run some numbers, and from the high school state championships in North Mississippi has increased since Cotton State started, because so many players play not only high school in their summer leagues, then they come play Cotton States. And then we're not taking credit for national championships, but it's not surprising with all the baseball going on in Mississippi that we have, well, it is surprising, but it's impressive that we have 2 national championships in a row with 2 different teams, and Southern Miss doing so well. And yes, we had Cotton State's players that played on both teams. Braylon Skinner has a ring, and he played in the Cotton State's league.
I want to ask you about, we're going to talk more about the Cotton State's Baseball League, but I do want to ask y'all about those 2 national championships, because, it seems like everybody in the state of Mississippi has been out to Omaha at least once in their life.
Not me.
Not you. I went last year with Ole Miss. It was a lot of fun. I will say that.
He does eat Omaha steaks. He just haven't shipped them.
You need to go out to Omaha with us. You need to come out.
The Cotton State's Baseball League is in session.
That's fair.
Omaha's going on.
That's fair.
You cannot go to Omaha.
That's true.
Let me ask y'all, though, what does it mean to the state? Kind of the follow-up to that. What does it mean to the state to have back-to-back national championships and have a team like Southern Miss who's knocking on the door, getting to Omaha, and possibly winning a national championship for a 3rd national championship?
It's something that we always thought was attainable, and at times both State and Ole Miss have had the best team in the country. That I don't think anybody can doubt that. But for some reason or another, could never win it. Everything has to line up, and so you begin thinking we're just jinxed, or we're not ever going to achieve this, and that lingers in the back of your head. But at the same time, we got the facilities, we got the athletes. We're right there. Just keep trying, and it's a monkey lifted off your back, and it's something that. And then for Ole Miss to come in and do it the very next year, it brings. I'm a state guy, but it brings me great pride and joy for the state of Mississippi to win championships.
It may be a monkey off your back, but it just put a target on your back, as you can see from this year. So now everybody's happy.
We got to learn
You got to deal with success too.
I will say that in recent memory, the only other two states that have done this in college athletics has been the state of Kentucky, 2012, 2013 in basketball with UK and U of L.
You got to bring up.
I got to bring up my Wildcats, but also state of Alabama in football. When Alabama won it,
That's
and
right.
I think the year after that, Auburn won it. So it is staying within the Southeast, but there's just something about these national championships, because I've moved down here now. There is something about these championships that has changed the perception around this state, not only in baseball, but just overall. And you guys are both Mississippi guys. And you know, as Mississippi men, looking at that and using that as kind of the launching pad, what do you expect to see out of Cotton State's Baseball League, 5 years, 10 years from now?
Well, I think the championships are nice, whether at the state level or at the national level, like Ole Miss, Mississippi State. We celebrated with Braylon Skinner as he scored that run, and Mississippi State went on their historic run to the Natty. I think the best measure of the Cotton States Baseball League is, are these players successful in life? Because baseball teaches you've got to overcome having a target on your back. You've got to learn and get better, and you're doing that when people aren't looking, and you're responsible for not only your own self, but doing things within the team environment and helping lift them up. And those are life lessons. If you will take the lessons learned from baseball and most team sports, but baseball seems to be our chosen avenue, is if you'll take those life lessons and apply those same lessons to your education, to your job, to your career, to your family, to your church, you will be successful in life. And it's great that Major League All-Star Brandon Woodruff played in the Cotton States when he was in high school. And we celebrate his success, and it's a young man we've known for a long time. But the real measure is when these guys come up to us and they're very successful in their early 30s and with children, and they're like, yes, he's going to come play in the Cotton States. That's the most fun I ever had. We take a lot of pride in just getting to know the players, their families, celebrating their success at whatever level that might be, but we want them to be successful adults is the biggest and best measure of where we would consider the Cotton States Baseball League to be successful. We've had as many as 10 college teams. We've had as many as 24 high school teams in a season, 8 junior high teams. Those are the outlying numbers, and we've had to rent other fields before. We're not looking to get any bigger per se. We have 4 fields. We have certain game times. We don't play on Sunday morning. We don't play on Wednesday nights, and those are rules that we live by. And so we are somewhat limited in the size that we can attain, other than going to another ballpark. But that's not a premium thing. So we just want good, successful teams. We want to see players get better. We want to see players maybe learn a new position that helps them next spring. There's a great example right there. Coach Cohen called us one summer and said, we're going to need an emergency catcher. Do you mind if our starting third baseman, Jet Butler, comes up there and catches for you in the Cotton States? No, sir. Bring him. We'd love to have it. And became very close to Jet Butler. And I know Sam and his family went to Jet's marriage, and they still stay in contact. And I don't think Coach Cohen ever had to use him at Mississippi State as a catcher that year, but he was the emergency number 3 catcher. He spent the entire summer learning a new position just in case they needed it. And so that's the type of success we're looking for our players, and we wish all of them the best of luck, and however we can help them later in life. And so many of them want to come back and help us coach. I have a list of high school players who've aged out of high school, may or may not even be playing college ball, but they want to come coach for us in our junior high or high school league. They just want to stay associated with the league. And so that's one of the things that Sam and I enjoy most.
I want to ask you, you mentioned John Cohen, you've mentioned Ron Polk, and of course everybody knows all the rest of the history of the state. What do those guys do behind the scenes to help you guys kind of grow the Cotton States Baseball League?
Yeah, we'll go back to the beginning when we started this thing. We went to John Cohen, and he was, guys, come on, I'd love to talk to you about it. And from day one, he was very supportive. And Lane Burroughs would come and scout here. Cohen used us to send players here with special instructions for them. Nick Mingione would come. That's your favorite Kentucky, but they all were very well. And Bianco.
Yeah.
But Cohen especially was very proud of it and endorsed it. And Frank mentioned Donnie Kester and one of the Kester boys, Keith Kester's son, who plays at Memphis now, pitched here. But
Chase pitched here in high school and then again in college.
That's right.
In college.
But back to Cohen, I mean, one Saturday, and this was early on, we were just struggling collegiate league, and Cohen called us and said, I want to send a player down. I want to come evaluate him. And it was Frank and I. We were doing everything: the balls, the water, PA. I mean, it was just us two doing it. And Cohen came up to the press box, and we spent an afternoon with him watching baseball, talking about life, and it was a unique, spontaneous afternoon for us that we weren't counting on. But from then on, we've had a friendship with him. Frank's had him on his radio show before. But he's been very supportive of us and our endeavors. Lane Burroughs has gotten a player from the Cotton States, actually recruited him and signed him. Lane's at La Tech now and doing very well. But back in the early days, that they were instrumental, and for us to be able to put them on, and Donnie Kester as well, on our brochures and have them endorse us, brought us instant credibility. I mean, huge.
The only problem with Coach Cohen coming that day is I felt sorry for the young man he was scouting. Because he knew John Cohen was there too. He did not have a very good afternoon. I don't think he ever got signed. But there's been other special cases like a Nick Vickerson, who was transferring in from junior college and needed to be around Starkville, maybe work on some grades, and those are all players we get is sometimes they need to be close. And that's one of the things we specialize in is college is not cheap.
Yeah.
We have an awful lot of our collegiate players that work during the week. That's why we play a Friday night, Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon schedule. We have several drive-in. We had a young man who was pitching in the SWAC, Division I in its own right, and he was from Louisiana. And basically the directions to his house is you drive south. If you hit the Gulf of Mexico, you just pass my house. And he would drive in. He was a pitcher, so he would drive up on Friday afternoon. He would take his turn on Saturday. If he did not have a good start, we would pull him quick. His coach would pull him quickly. We'd give him another chance on Sunday afternoon, then he'd drive home Sunday afternoon. And so we are open to, we've had pitchers from Samford do the same thing. We've had pitchers from Hattiesburg area do the same thing. A young man from Alabama that was signing with Southern Mississippi very recently has played 2 summers in our league. And so we just get a mix, and but that's kind of what we've carved out for ourselves is an opportunity for players that really can't go spend the entire summer in another state 500-600 miles away, that need to be near home, working on grades, working, making money, or lifting, getting bigger, and then come in and get your reps on the weekend and go home. And we give them 4th of July off, and it runs June and July only. So they've got a little time after we wrap up at the end of July, after we've had our league championship series. They've got a little time to get ready before they have to be back in college. And the players like it, and the feedback we get is it's fun, it's relaxing, but I still got my reps, and I had a really good summer.
Let us tell you a little about the structure. Again, at the beginning, we set this up for 9-inning games, and we played during the week and the weekend. And we quickly learned, as Frank just kind of told you, we need to kind of fit this to the player schedules where they can have some flexibility. So it's evolved to 7-inning games, with a time limit during the regular season. We do have a playoff. And we play, just as Frank said, we just play on the weekend. So they're going to get their reps in. It's condensed. We have high-end stats. We do not have anybody's kinfolk. We pay the statisticians to enter the stuff in. So after the game, it's entered in to our stats program.
And we grade it. We actually go through it with the statistician that was working that field. You may have a few too many pass balls. What are you seeing? Could any of those been a wild pitch?
Yeah.
What are you seeing? Because that affects their earned run average. And as our understanding, our expectation is you're going to be doing this summer.
Yeah.
That for us as part of your role with us that we're super excited about. But I'm going to be looking at your stats also.
Bring it on. I say bring it on.
Make sure it's accurate to see what you saw.
So they can compare immediately after the game where they are with their team, where they are with that game, and where they are compared to the rest of the league. So a junior college kid could lead the league with Division I players in hitting or pitching or whatever.
All they have.
And can see where they stack up. And that helps in their recruiting. But we learned after the first summer, we got to make some changes to sustain this thing. And we also learned there was interest in not just college, but high school. And so we took our college model and created a high school league too. So the Cotton State's high school league. And where the players sign up, we place them on teams.
Yeah.
And we only put 4 players per their high school team on a team max. You may be the only player from New Albany or Pontotoc on the team. And so we try to make the teams as equal as possible. So they know catchers, pitchers, juniors, seniors, and we use that same model. The only difference is the high school we play during the week now and on the weekend. And that has been successful. And that's only played in July.
Yeah.
And then we said, well, this is working with high school. Let's add junior high. And so we have the same program, only played in July, made up the same way. The great dynamic of this, one, these younger kids are getting more reps. Yeah. 2, they get to watch the college kids play because they're all played at the same complex. Yeah. All going at the same time. They may have 1 college game and 3 high school games going at the same time. And what we use, we give the college players first dibs to coach a high school team.
Right.
So they may play that day at 1:30, and then they go coach their high school team at 4.
Huh.
And it's just a really synergistic atmosphere because the kids can come watch their coach play, and then the coach goes over and teaches these guys, and it's really neat. And we have so many college players who aspire to be coaches someday, and they really enjoy it, and we pay them. We pay our coaches, we pay our college coaches, high school and junior high. We pay the statisticians, we pay the umpires. We have high-end uniforms. It's not a T-shirt. And the college kids get a home and away. The high school and junior high get 1 uniform, and so that's how it works. And it's even stats for the high school, same thing. It's not anybody's uncle. It's one of our statisticians doing it. And so that's how it's set up. It is a pay-to-play league. Yeah. They do pay, but our prices are the lowest of any of our competitors. So it's affordable, and it gives the players opportunities to work on whether it's coaching, whether it's playing different positions, as Frank said, and they're going to get the reps. They're all going to get to play.
We do have a fall version for high school and junior high only that competes on Sunday afternoons only, and it runs from the weekend after Labor Day till early this first or second weekend in November. Gotcha. Same format. And actually there's a discount for the high school, junior high kids, players. If they played in the July league, we're going to leave them on the same team. They're going to wear the same uniform, so we pass those savings right back to them by not buying them a new jersey, hat, belt, and socks. And they'll just stay on the same team, and we will have learned some things about the teams, and we'll have to add some players, and through natural attrition they'll lose some that played football or whatever in the fall. So a team that struggled, we will make sure they get somebody that we know that can pitch and get them through games. And we do still have the Brandon Woodruff rule in the fall, and the Brandon Woodruff rule was since we were only playing once a week, he could dominate any other team on the mound and at the plate for that matter. And so now they have to, in the fall, they can only pitch 5 innings. So we pretty much try to force them to make at least one pitching change.
Yeah.
So if you're facing a Brandon Woodruff, as long as you stay close and don't let them score a lot of runs, you're going to get to see somebody else, and maybe that's your chance to beat them.
And one other thing that's important to note is we're a single-site league.
Yeah.
All our games are played at one place, and we for the most part, stay on time. Our college kids don't travel to other states or other towns to play another town. It's all played right here, so it's very consistent. The schedules are fairly reliable, and so they can plan their weekend, they can plan their week, pretty much based on our schedule.
So let me ask you guys, this kind of leads into this. We talked a lot about the players. I want to ask you about the coaches. How are the coaches selected from each year? Because it does look like, based off the little research I've done, the coaches are returning back from last season, and there have been several that have been back through the Cotton Baseball League for a while now. How are the coaches selected at the college level?
We have baseball people are loyal.
Yeah.
They're good folks, and really they care about baseball. I'm really convinced every one of our coaches would coach for free if we didn't pay them. But we want to be fair and equitable in this, and so we pay them, and we expect them to do some recruiting. So pretty much all these coaches have come to us in the past, and we would like to coach in the league, and we have people do that still. And so that's where that started. They came to us, and they all have baseball backgrounds. Some played college, some have coached college. We got one coaching college now, or helping out, and they have a coaching background. And so we expect them in the off season to do recruiting for the Cotton States. Unlike the high school and junior high league, our college coaches do recruit. Yeah. And so. And they are loyal, and they love it. We've got a Jeff King who's retired from the school systems. He's been a high school coach for many years, had a recruiting website, and just loves sports. And he researches every team in the Southeast for players. You got a Buddy Hall who's had baseball all his life, retired from high school, took 1 year off from Cotton States, and so, guys, I want my team back.
He's in the NIMCAP Hall of Fame, Northeast Mississippi Coaches Association for Better Baseball. Been on their board for many years and helps out with that All-Star game. And then you have
Jeffrey Cook.
Jeffrey Cook, retired high school coach, now helping with the local NAIA school. You have Andy Dillard, whose dad was associated with baseball since he and Archie Manning took Ole Miss to the College World Series in the early 70s. Steve Dillard and his brother's still associated with baseball. And Andy just loves baseball and was one of the top hitters ever in Delta State University history, and
played in the minor leagues.
You've got a Greg Bates, a longtime travel coach who just likes being around it. He usually coaches a college team and a high school team because he's going to be there. You might as well get to know some of those high schoolers too. Some of our regular high school coaches, Gary Darby, a longtime association with Ole Miss sports and baseball, and other than being a Cincinnati Reds fan, it's just a valuable baseball asset, and so it's a great group of guys that they follow the kids long after they played for them, whether that's at the collegiate age or at the high school age. They're always coming and saying, "Hey, I talked to so and so that played for me 5 years ago, and he's getting married, and or has this opportunity." And they're always sharing stories like that with us, and we enjoy being around them as much as we enjoy being around the players.
2 more questions I have for y'all. Both are going to be kind of fun questions now. Your favorite memories of the Cotton States Baseball League so far? As you guys have done this for, 15 years, I think?
It's 15.
What has been your favorite memories so far?
When we first started, the very second year.
Yeah.
When Jet Cohen called in the springs, I want Jet Butler with y'all this summer. And I knew Jet Butler, of course, being the state guy, and I said, "Well, Coach Cohen, we'll have to find him a place to live." And I called my wife, said, "Would it be all right if we host Jet Butler if he comes live with us for the summer?" She goes, "Who's Jet Butler?" And I told my children that. They go, we want Jet Butler. So Jet Butler comes and first day, and my youngest was probably 6, and they were in Atlanta touring the aquarium and some other stuff. He said, "Daddy, when Jet gets here, call me. I want to talk to him." And I did exactly. I showed Jet his quarters. I did exactly what Lewis asked me to do. And Jet called. And he said, "Hey, Jet." And so I'm Lewis, and I'm a big fan. I want to know if you've seen my room yet. Because he had Mississippi State.
That's awesome.
And so that and from that day on, Jet's has been like a member of our family.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, this season, Lewis, he's a sophomore in college now, and he wore the Jet Boatley jersey that Jet gave him to a game because it's his good luck jersey.
Yeah.
So he was struggling. They did win that game. He saw a scout, and the scout said, "Hey, do you want to see the guy who actually wore that jersey in the game?" He goes, "Jet here?" And so that they reunited at the Mississippi State game.
That's awesome.
And he was wearing Jet's jersey. So it's the Cotton States, and you get to know these players. It's like family,
Yeah.
and that early on especially, that was a very fond memory for me.
Yeah. I'm going to go turn it over to you, Mr. Frank. Favorite memory?
Well, we've hosted a player or two. Young man from Bahamas came here twice, and Sam his family hosted him one year, and we hosted him next year. There's a young man by the name of Crondon Wallace who spoke the King's English, and both families were very close to him and traveled to his wedding up in Illinois. But my favorite Crondon Wallace story was I picked him up from the Greyhound bus station in Tupelo. And I guess he confessed to me later that he just really didn't understand what was going on. He thought he was coming to a collegiate league. He was sent to us by a friend that had coached one of my sons at Northeast that was now at a school up in Tennessee. And he called and said, can Crondon come and play with you? And we said, of course. And Sam hosted him that first year. We hosted him the second year. But he shared with me later that when I picked him up, he thought I was a player. At the time, I would have been at least 48, 49 years old and definitely not in playing shape. So he thought he would really made a mistake. But in the other's memory, the thing that I really like is, and it's happened so often that I cannot mention the names because I won't get them all in. Even the first year, we had a young man that I knew that had played at a very small school and had been overlooked in recruiting. And one of my sons had competed against his traveling team back in the day. So I knew him. I knew his father. We'd become friends over the years. And he was uncommitted. He played in our collegiate league that very first year. He didn't make an all-star team. We used to have an all-star game. Yeah. And I can remember him sitting over there watching the home run derby. He came down just to support his teammates. After that season, he signed with Mississippi Delta Community College. I look up the next spring, he's batting cleanup for Mississippi Delta Community College.
Wow.
Next time I see that young man, he is playing for an NAIA school, 4-year, out of Kentucky, playing Blue Mountain, what is now Blue Mountain Christian University, on the field that was the Cotton States field, because Blue Mountain Christian University program started after the Cotton States Baseball League and used that field for many years until they built their own. And I thought that's really neat. Daniel got an opportunity from being uncommitted to having 4 years of playing baseball.
Wow.
And that has happened over and over. Left-handed pitcher from Northwest who had been hurt in high school, and then at Northwest, he shows up to be a pitcher over at Ole Miss. And we've just had opportunity. Jackson Lancaster probably played as many games in the high school league and in the junior high, in the college league. He goes from ICC to the University of Missouri, and I look up and he's the starting center field in an SEC school, and later ended up then at one of the Louisiana schools. And just so many of those stories, either being uncommitted to getting an opportunity, or being in a junior college opportunity and getting a Division I opportunity, or just an opportunity to get your 4-year schools, whether that be NAIA, Division II, Division I. It doesn't matter. There's just been dozens and dozens of those type of stories over the 14 years we've been in existence, as this is our 15th year.
Jordan Hamray from North Dakota. I'll never forget this one. He called, and it was a spring where, again, it's a Lewis story, my youngest, and it said, I really want to. We were like, really? Do you really know how hot it is? And
we begged him not to come. Yeah. You're from North Dakota. you cannot stand up to the Mississippi.
6'5". He's a two-sport player, football and baseball.
You're going to lose too much weight for football. Please don't come.
He said,
but he had heard it was really good baseball.
I really want to come. And I said, all right, I'll talk to Warner, my wife, and Louis like, Daddy, we got to have this guy. I think he's going to be really good. And sure enough, he's another one that came to live with us and just became a family member to both the Dodds family and the Creekmore family. And the next season, he goes back. He's an all-conference football player, and then was player of the year for his conference in baseball.
Wow.
And just a great guy.
A quick Jet Butler story. That Sam, I don't know, he was out with my oldest son and some other local kids, and they went mud riding. Of course, Jet's from Florida, from Alabama. No, Pensacola, right outside Pensacola, Milton. And he had never been mud riding. And it's 2 in the morning, and he's stuck. And they said Jet Butler was just out there bowing up, going, "Woo! This is so much fun!" And I've never had this much fun in my life. But yeah, Jet had never been mud riding, and they were out stuck at 2 in the morning. I don't know who they called to get them out.
My family wasn't there.
I can name you the families that were there. But, yeah.
So, final question I have for y'all. It's kind of a fun question, but everybody talks about legacy. I like to ask all my guests, that have never come on here about legacy. I'll always get a different answer. But in 50 years, 100 years, however many years, when the Cotton States Baseball League, and you guys have moved on or whatever, what do you want that legacy to be that y'all have, not only on the Cotton States Baseball League, but baseball in Mississippi in general?
Well, I love this saying that there are 4 basic parts of life: to live, to learn, to love, and to leave a legacy. Yeah. And you can't leave a legacy without doing the other 3.
Yeah.
And I want those players who played here and their families to know that they've had a good time, they've lived, and this was a great part of their life. They felt loved, and they've learned a lot. Yeah. And the legacy part takes care of it. They'll never forget it for the rest of their life. And that's what I want. And as for my footprint on the Cotton States League, it's a lot of work. And Frank and I, at some point, there's an end to our part of it. Yeah. And we haven't worked all that out yet, and it won't happen anytime soon as long as people are interested in playing. But I want New Albany and North Mississippi and the South region to look back and say that's a quality collegiate baseball league that gave back to its community. And I remember one of the first times there are websites out there that show collegiate baseball leagues, and it was 1, 2, or 3 years into and then our site showed up on these websites. So it's like we're getting there. Yeah. So I want live, learn, love, leave a legacy.
Mr. Frank, put you on the spot now.
I think I've already touched on it learning the lessons that will serve them well in life, and I'm at that age where I just want to pay it forward. The opportunities in the state of Mississippi. We hear so much about people leaving, and I want to build good, solid communities. I want these players and coaches to want to be in the state of Mississippi and to continue to contribute to their communities and to whatever that might take on in terms of their career or maybe they get involved in coaching. And I tell the college guys all the time, when we pay you to coach one of our high school or junior high teams, I tell them all the time, be reflective. Think about the things you're saying to those players, and you will learn more about your own game. They will teach you. They will show you why your dad or your coaches have been telling you certain things your whole career, because now you're going to see a kid that struggles in the same area. It's like when you volunteer to do anything. If you volunteer to teach Sunday school, you probably know the lesson and learn the lesson better than the people who attend that Sunday school lesson that day. And so when you become a coach, you learn so many things. And I've had a lot of, when I get in that conversation with coaches, they'll say, I've learned so many things that I wish I knew when I was playing, that I wish I could have applied when I was playing. And so that's I just want to see good, strong communities. I want to see the state of Mississippi, as does Sam, succeed and grow and offer great opportunities for our young people. And I'm just so proud of Eli Whiteside, a young man from New Albany who wears World Series rings, and now he's back in the community, and he had other opportunities, but he wants to be here, and he wants to help with the local high school program, and those are opportunities, and we have communities that you don't find in every state, and even yourself have been surprised, having recently moved to Mississippi, that how friendly, how we truly care about each other, and that's the lesson that I want to pay forward, so that they will then pay that forward also.
Frank, Dodds, Sam Creekmore, thank y'all for coming on to the Mitch Davis Show. I look forward to working with you guys this summer.
I always want to be on the Mitch Davis Show, so thank you for having us.
That's on our bucket list. So check that off.
I appreciate that. Now you guys get to join, Ron Polk and all those other guys. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you,
Mitch.
You have been listening to The Mitch Davis Show. I've been your host, Mitch Davis, founder of the MitchDavisShow.com, podcast host of The Mitch Davis Show, brought to you by the Cotton States Baseball League, premier baseball league in the South, one of the best summer baseball leagues for development, young collegiate and high school, and even junior players as well. Great league. Very special thank you to the two guys that are in charge, the men that are in charge, Mr. Sam Creekmore and Frank Dodds, for joining me on the Mitch Davis Show to talk about all things Cotton States Baseball League. I've been your host, Mitch Davis, again, founder of the MitchDavisShow.com, podcast host of The Mitch Davis Show. You can find the podcast on YouTube at The Mitch Davis Show. Follow me on Twitter, MitchDavis_8. Be sure, by the way, if you have not registered yet, head on over to CottonStatesLeague.com, register your collegiate player, register your high school player, maybe even your junior player as well. And be sure you're following all the Twitter pages. I'm on Twitter, MitchDavis_8. And also head on over to Twitter and follow at Cotton States for Cotton States Baseball League news and updates. And be sure you're following the CottonStatesLeague.com as well. The website is going to be your one-stop shop for news, for updates, for articles, for content, for podcasts, everything in between. CottonStatesLeague.com. Again, head on over to CottonStatesLeague.com for the latest from the Cotton States Baseball League. I've been your host, Mitch Davis. Have a great weekend.